Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and pause intermittently here and there to talk about things that are going on, to better explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. So without further ado, here we go.
This briefing will provide information about an officer-involved shooting involving members of the New York City Police Department. You will see relevant video footage and other available evidence that will allow you to gain a better understanding of the events that led up to the incident and what occurred during the incident based on the facts that we know at this time. New York State law and NYPD policy.
Let's get through some of this.
The department's force investigation cases require as much additional evidence is collected to put witnesses to forensic evidence. One of those can be graphic videos you are about to see.
So it is, let's go back to that screen. So this is taking them a little bit. This incident occurred on January 4th. Time of recording is June 16th. I want to say that this video had been released within the last few days. So it's been a little minute since this incident occurred. God dang. Look at this piece of crap. What was this called? A Taurus Spectrum 380. This thing looks like a piece of shit. Look at this damn thing. Ugh. He's even taking the change.
New York City 911, do you need police, fire, or medical? Police.
What's the location?
2120 Rockaway Parkway between Schenectady, Skidmore, I think.
2120 Rockaway Parkway in Brooklyn?
Yes, 2120 Rockaway Parkway, yes.
Apartment or private house?
This is Dollar Tree.
Okay, the 2 Cross Street, Skidmore Avenue is next street?
Yes.
What's the emergency?
The guy that they told me every time he come in here to call the police. The guy that robbed my store the other day, he keep coming in here in disguise with a wig on, trying to get us. But I keep shutting my line down, and he tried to go to my other register to stand beside there, try to get inside that register. But I tell him to shut it down. Like he's outside my store right now. Like I'm tired of that.
Okay, and he shoplifted before?
Yes, he robbed my store the other day. I had a robbery. He did it. We know he did it. And now this time he got a wig on his head trying to disguise himself. But I know who he is.
Are there any weapons, any injuries at the time?
No, right now. No, he'll tell them to get out the way or it's going to be a problem.
Okay, so this male, is he black, white, Indian, Asian, or Hispanic?
He's black. He got on the silver or tag coat. He outside my store. He got a wig, like a wig with some hair with some glasses on. I need someone here ASAP, please.
And what is the color of his pants?
He's black. He got some blue jeans.
Blue jeans.
With like some New Balance, like some colorful New Balance.
New Balance shoes?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they come down, they'll see him.
How old does he look like?
He like 39, 40.
Okay. Is he slim, medium, or heavy set?
Slim. Kind of
And how tall is he?
Like 5'7".
So it's interesting to me how just nonchalant some of these employees are acting. I mean, he pulls a gun, and this guy, he just kind of leans back against the other counter here, just, waiting for this robbery to be over with. And then she's just standing there, just watching. So if that other worker, if he had a gun, I mean, he could have lit his ass up from over here. And he puts it in one of the to-go bags. So there's nothing wrong with the audio. It's just that he has not activated the camera yet. It is still in buffer mode. That's good. So this is in buffer mode. When it's in buffer mode, it doesn't capture audio. It just does video. I've talked about this before, but New York just loves mounting stuff right here on the dashboard. I don't get it. I don't know why they do that. Personally, I think those lights and stuff would be kind of a nuisance driving at night. You know, everywhere else in the country, they put the light and siren control down the middle console. But New York, man, they just got to be different. So it is in buffer mode right now, and I personally think that as you're arriving on scene, and here's another, let's look at this also. So they pull in to the scene, and they leisurely back into a parking space. Like they're responding to a call where a guy has robbed a place, and they take the time to back their fucking cruiser in to a parking space. So right off the bat, that tells me that like the mindset's not there, right? Like, why are you going to a call of a dude who's robbed a place and he's there, and then you're going to take the time to just leisurely back your car in? Like, no, like that's stupid. So that right there just kind of tells me that mindset isn't really present right there. Going to a call like this, getting out of the vehicle, like you should automatically be turning the camera on at this point, instead of waiting to get all the way to where you're getting to turn the thing on. That way, if something were to happen rapidly, which these things happen rapidly, your camera would already be recording. So, obviously, some of this is being blocked by his jacket, and you know, this is the thing that sucks about the winter months with body cameras, is the jackets will oftentimes cover up the camera lens, and it's unintentional, but that's one of the downsides to winter wear. So when it comes to body cameras and winter jackets, I think the jacket either needs to be zipped or it needs to be unzipped. And if it's going to be where the jacket is unzipped, then I don't see the point in having a jacket that's unzipped, because that in and of itself makes it a danger to you for someone to be able to get a hold of that piece of wardrobe and be able to drag you around more easily with it. If you're going to be having a jacket on, then I think that you need to be committed to having that jacket zipped up. And when it comes to that, then there's one of two things you can do with the jacket. One is to have a tab on the outside of the jacket to be able to mount a body camera to, or zip the jacket up to the point of where the body camera is. and then leave it zipped up to there. And if the jacket has a double zipper to the front, then obviously that would make it a lot nicer for you to be able to zip the jacket up and down to the point of the body camera and have the body camera kind of sticking out of the jacket, sort of how the jackets have the sidearm slot on the side of the jacket, so that you can wear the jacket over the uniform and be able to have the duty gun or an holster stick out on the outside of the jacket, but the jacket still go below the holster area, so you have the holster kind of sticking out. Be that same kind of concept.
Okay? 2120 Rockville Park. 10 shots fired. I need a bus right now.
So that first officer was lucky that when the suspect pulled his gun and fired, that he didn't get shot. I mean, just lucky. I would imagine that if he had been shot and the vest caught it, that they would have shown the photograph of it. I want to say I've seen something from New York before where they showed an officer's vest where it had been hit by gunfire, and there was like the little measuring tape next to it, but it's hard for me to remember exactly. So boom, he must have fired, boom, boom, and then I think the officer, this one, since he fired twice, so he tries to get a hold of him. He pulls his gun. I'm suspecting that he fired somewhere here, and then boom, he fires again, because you can see the slide reciprocate on the gun. It's a pop. So he had to have somewhere between there and there. He had to have fired the other round. So where'd that other round go? Shit, I don't know. But I mean, look how close they are, and he missed. Wow.
In the coming,
you don't get to see that. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea where that one round of his could have went. I mean, it could have, with the door open, it could have gone through the fabric of the jacket and then hit the ground and went out that way somewhere. Other than that, I'm not 100% sure. It's really hard to tell when exactly he fired because there's no audio, but we do get to see the slide of the gun when he pops him in the neck. It's a pop. That's super close. So he pops him and hits him in the neck. I'm surprised that this incident hasn't made the news. This guy's on the ground. He's face down, and they shoot him in the back of the neck. I'm sure the anti-police people would be foaming at the mouth, saying, "This is execution style. They executed him. Blah 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 blah." You know, that typical bullshit they always talk. I have no problems with this whatsoever. This guy is a threat. He has tried to murder these guys. He pulled a gun on them. He shot at them. Luckily, the dumbass missed. He shot at him. He lost this fight. He started some shit that he couldn't finish, but these guys finished it for him. If the threat has his back to you, I see no problem with shooting into a target's back. No problem with that whatsoever. Some people, for whatever reason, seem to have some kind of problem with this, and I don't know. I don't fully understand it. I guess these are the kind of people who think that a fight should be like a boxing match where it's all fair and everyone's just standing there and you trade hits with each other and it's all formal. And I guess they think that a gunfight should be something similar, like you're gonna face off with each other like like you're out west somewhere and you're both gonna quick draw. I don't know what the fuck these people are thinking. But there's some people who just have like some type of moral objection to somebody being shot in the back. I personally have no problem with it. A person can still be a deadly threat to you even with their back turned to you. They can be a deadly threat to someone else even with their back turned to you. In this instance right here, the gun, I'm suspecting, is still in his hands. This officer that's wrestling with him is right there at him. He's a right-handed person. That means that him holding the gun, he could be pointing that gun straight at this officer's gut, right into his thigh, right into his groin. Hell, maybe up into his chest area. And he could fire and kill this officer. He's still a threat. Just because the only visible target at this point is his back and the back of his head, it doesn't mean that you can't take a shot. That you have to wait until he murders this other officer and then turns to face you and only then you can shoot. No, that's fucking stupid. And if you think that's what needs to be done, you're fucking stupid. So no problem whatsoever if a target, if a threat has its only visible target to you is its back. No problem with that whatsoever. In fact, I would go so far as to say that at this close range, being this super close, and him bringing the gun that close to the target, I wouldn't even have messed with trying to shoot him in the back. I just would have shot him in the back of the head. Boom, headshot right there. Definitely would have ended the fight at this point. So firing into the neck like that, this guy's in more of a kind of a prone position, kind of tilted a little bit. So I'd imagine the bullet you think about the neck and what all's in it. Of course you got the spine. So there's a possibility he could have hit the spine, severed it, paralyzed the guy down, and it continued on and hit a carotid, and or even hit the airway and just blew the airway and carotid out, and he most likely just bled to death right there, or drowned in his own blood. Those are those are a couple options of probably what happened. So a neck shot can be pretty bad. But then there's also those random wild-ass occurrences where people get shot in the neck and it doesn't hit anything vital and they're perfectly fine. I've heard stories of people being shot in the neck and it's a through and through and nothing wrong. Nothing wrong whatsoever with them. Just, a hole in one part of the neck and a hole in the other, but it never hit anything vital on its way through. Whoever that person was, they definitely need to try their hand at playing the lottery because, what's the odds of that? But like I said, typically a shot into the neck, the throat is going to be usually pretty bad. It's a very thin part of the body, and it's like the super highway for the body in a way. Everything that the brain needs goes through that area. Everything that the body needs to survive has to go through that area. Air goes in through that area. Food and water goes in through that area. oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood go back and forth within that area. The spinal cord is right there in that area. It is a critical component for the overall human body. But it's just like the head. It is kind of hard to hit in a gunfight when there's some distance involved. Up close, yeah. I mean, yeah, it can still be hit. I wouldn't necessarily think that it's the first go-to hit, first go-to target, because while a person is bleeding out, they can still fight. It may be a fatal wound, but it may not be an incapacitating wound. The idea with the guns is to cause incapacitating wounds. We get incapacitating wounds by perforating the heart or perforating the brain. That incapacitates people. I normally gripe about officers going to calls and not having rifles. And I don't think that any of these New York police cars have rifles in them. I could be wrong, but I just don't think they have rifles in them at all. And if that is the case, then I think that's wrong. Patrol guys should have rifles. If you know you're going to a call where there's a robbery, guns involved, stuff like that, you need to be getting the rifle out. Rifles win gunfights. I mean, there's no contest with that. No argument. Rifles win gunfights. But in this case, I'm almost pretty confident they don't even have a rifle in the car. I think it's, this agency, they don't do it. Moving on.
In the coming weeks and months, the NYPD Force Investigation Division.
Well, let's talk a little bit more. So, why is this not wanting to pause for me? So let's say the suspect did shoot one of these officers. Now, granted, their car is kind of close, but what if, they had gotten a further distance away from their vehicle and they were nowhere near it, and one of them were shot? What are they going to do to treat themselves? Do they have medical equipment on them to treat these injuries? How long will an ambulance take to get there to give them pre-hospital treatment? If you carry a gun for a living, then you should also carry medical gear. If you're going to carry the tools to induce trauma, you should carry the tools to reduce trauma. If you carry a gun on a daily basis, then that means you recognize the fact that you could be involved in a gunfight. And by being involved in a gunfight, you should recognize that bullets go both directions, and you, your partner, your family members could be hit by gunfire. If you recognize the fact that you need a gun because a cop takes too long to get there to protect you, or if you are a cop or you are security and you carry a gun, and obviously you carry a gun because you need your protection right then and there versus waiting on someone specialized to get there with a gun, then you should also have the same mindset of having medical gear. Medical gear is just as important as having a gun. Having the gear is one part of the solution. The other is having the knowledge and how to use this stuff. Most agencies and some companies will provide CPR, AED, first aid training. That's good just for basic knowledge stuff. But as far as treating gunshot wounds, stab wounds, stuff like that, you need to have a little bit more of an in-depth tactical medical training. That typically comes from lessons or curriculum based around TCCC, Tactical Combat Casualty Care. It's some of the same kind of stuff that you would see in medical classes, standardized medical classes for normal people, non-tactical people, but it's just ordered a little bit differently as far as things that you do, and it's catered for the armed profession. So you need to go seek out that training. You can get some ideas from watching YouTube, but you should never use YouTube as a substitute for training. Your training should be under the watchful eye of a competent instructor. You need to be getting hands-on with this stuff. You just can't watch everything on a video.
In the coming weeks and months, the NYPD force investigation continued completed. Deputy complied in this case was justified and within department. The acts of the case forensic tests continue to investigate and analyze this incident as more interviews are conducted and forensic tests are completed. After the investigation is complete, the facts of the case will be presented to the First Deputy Commissioner's Use of Force Review Board, which will evaluate the evidence to determine if the use of force applied in this case was justified and...
All right. So that's it for this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.